Today we are working on Excel lesson 26 supply. So this is what you should have open. Go ahead and save it to the location where you store everything, putting your initials at the end. And in step 3 we're going to insert a header with your name in the left, date code in the center, and page number in the right. Change it back to normal view. So step 4 says select cell C8. So click in cell C8, and it wants us to enter a formula that multiplies 1 plus the input rate in cell C4, which if you look up here in your formula bar, we already have that in there. So the thing we're adding, it says times the previous tax rate in cell B8. So all we have to do is click at the end of that. We're going to put times, which is shift and 8, times B8, and hit enter. So now if you click on that cell, your formula should be equals 1 plus C4 times B8. Step 5 says in cell B15, so click in cell B15, which is this blank one, and we are going to create a formula that increases the wages in cell B13 times 1.5%. So I'm going to click up here in the formula bar. First thing I have to do is type equals. That means that it's going to now be a formula, and we're referencing cell B13, so I'm going to click B13 and it automatically puts that in there for me. And I'm multiplying it times, so I'm going to put the asterisk, 1.9%. So you should have learned in math that we need to, in order to be 1.9%, we're going to move the decimal places over a couple of places. And so the number that's going in there is 1.019, and hit enter. When you do that, you can see there's your formula equals B13 times 1.019, and your number should be 638,153. And we need to fill it across, so click on the bottom right hand corner and drag that over to the right, and you'll see all those numbers filled in. I don't need to adjust anything because everything already fits. Step number 6 says enter 1 as the base rate in cell C4. So I'm going to click in cell C4, I'm going to type 1 and hit enter. Step 7 says select the non-contiguous ranges A12 to E12. So I'm going to highlight A12 over to E12 along with A14 to E14. So I'm going to hold down the control key and highlight from A14 to E14, and then A16 to E16, still holding the control key down. So I should have those 3 rows highlighted. Step 8 says insert a line chart using the line with marker subtype. So I'm going to click insert. Right over here is my line chart, so I'm going to click the down arrow. And the subtype is line with markers, which is this one right here, line with markers, so click that. Step 8 says adjust the minimum bound of the vertical axis to a minimum value of 250,000, maximum of 500,000. So right over here we're going to click on this. This is what it's talking about. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to click Format Axis. When I do that, it's going to open up this box. The minimum it wants us to put in is 250,000. The maximum is going to be 500,000. When I hit enter, let me try this again. 250. And 500,000. And you can see it's 250,000 to 500,000. Step 10, adjust the major units to a value of 25,000. So right here where the units are, major units, we're going to type 25,000. And minor is going to be 5,000, which mine already is. Step 11 says remove the decimal places from the Axis display, and there's a little hint that says see the number choices in the Format Access task pane. So right down here where you see number, we're going to click the arrow right here beside number. You can see decimal places is currently 2. I'm going to change that to 0. And you can see that it took out the decimal places over here. Step 12 says to increase the size of the chart as desired and position it below the data. I'm okay with the size of it, so I'm just going to drag it over here below the data. That's what it's wanting you to do. Step 13 says to change the entry in cell C4 to 4. So I'm going to click on cell C4. Now, it's kind of tricky, I guess, in a way. When you click up here on the formula bar, click between the 1 and the percentage, backspace, and type 4 and hit enter. And it should be 4% now. And this is what your chart should look like. You should have all the numbers with the formulas. These numbers over here are correct. You've moved it over. And this is what it looks like. Step 14 says, with your teacher's permission, print it. But we don't do that in my class. So save and close the file and exit Excel. And this completes lesson 26 apply.